Thank you, Senator McDonald. Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. And I was trying to figure out there what had happened. I had to go and get my hair cut just briefly then, Mr Acting Deputy President, so I did miss some intervening debate. When I left, we were talking about banking laws, and when I came back, Senator McDonald was giving a fine contribution on other matters, but I'm glad that we're still on this topic, and I'm also glad I don't share the rhetorical gymnastic skills of Senator McDonald to tie in those issues to this bill, but while he has already done so, I'll use that as an opportunity to back up completely the points that Senator McDonald was making, and that very simply we cannot change the temperature of the globe from a room in Canberra. We cannot do that. We might love to be able to do that, we may want to be able to do that, but we can't. And we on this side, at least, I'm very proud to be of a party with a strong history and record of practical, pragmatic action for people in this country. And we can't practically change the temperature of the globe from Canberra. It has to be something we do globally, and I would certainly be very opposed to any move which puts at risk one job, which puts at risk one Australian family's ability to provide for themselves based on some ideological and passionate debate trying to do something we can't do. I'm on a unity ticket with Paul Howes on that if it is to cost one job, we should not do it, because we cannot on our own do anything to change the temperature of the globe. But that somehow brings me back to the Banking Laws Amendment Bill, Unclaimed Money Bill. I'm also very happy to share Senator McDonald's support for this particular piece of legislation. We should at all times try and provide consistent laws for the Australian people so they can plan their futures, they can understand what the laws of the land are and comply with them, and we should avoid trying to haphazardly change what has been in place for decades, and in this case more than a century. For more than a century, for more than 100 years, almost the entirety of our federation, the entirety of this parliament, we have had a situation where people could be assured that if their money was in the bank and they hadn't touched it for some reason, it wouldn't be taken off them for at least 7 years. We had a 7-year period in place to ensure that people who were using an account within that period didn't have that money taken off them. Now, for reasons that I'll go into later, then in 2012 the then Labor government decided no, they needed some more cash, so they raided people's accounts. They raided the bank accounts of the Australian people, and it was the wrong thing to do. It was a futile attempt to try to hit an unachievable budget surplus target. They decided to raid the bank accounts of the Australian people. It was not much more of a lower act that former government did, and there were lots of low acts they did, but it was an incredibly low act, to try to meet a futile promise to the Australian people to balance the budget by raiding their own bank accounts, and that's what they did. That's exactly what they did. They all did it. The only reason they did it was to try and bring some more money into the forward estimates so that somehow their budget looked better, and they wanted to do that in the backs of hard-working, Australians who saved their money, and they wanted to raid those. Well, I'm very happy this government rejects that approach, and will be returning to the more than 101-year precedent history of ensuring that we do not touch people's bank accounts for 7 years. If they have used that bank account within that 7-year period in some way, shape or form, they can be assured now, after this bill goes through, that it will remain their money. Now, my colleague Senator Williams made the very good point before that when that raid occurred, when people's money were stolen a few years ago, there were a few people caught red-handed in the act. Senator Wong was there as Finance Minister. Senator Conroy was part of Cabinet. I'm not sure if Senator Carr was in Cabinet or not. He was in and out a few times. But there were people there. Were you there, Senator Carr? Were you in Cabinet when this decision made? Maybe you could enlighten me. But there were various criminals over there that we now know. They were caught red-handed. Raiding people's bank accounts. But I give them this: when you are caught red-handed, when you are caught in the act of raiding other people's money, you're best to fess up to it. You're best to own up. And congratulations, the Labor Party have done that now, and I'm thankful that they've owned up to the fact that they conducted this raid, and they will now be making efforts to recompensate people, to return the law back to where it was. So thankfully they've finally seen the light in that regard, and we can count on their support and the support of other sensible political parties in this chamber to make sure we return hard-working Australian savings to them and to their control. Now, we can do that. We need to have this bill through very quickly because we want this to take effect by the end of this year. We want this to take effect by the end of this year so that this uncertainty can be removed, and therefore it is of great credit to the government that it has brought this forward, and we'll make sure that happens. The bill will also make sure we put a number of different protections in the legislation to improve its implementation and application. We'll be exempting children's accounts as well from money being taken back. So if someone has put money in their child's accounts, obviously they may not touch that for more than 7 years for various reasons. That will be exempted as well. So there has been some benefit, Mr. President, from the Labor Party's act of theft a few years ago. We will make this legislation better, and I'm glad that this legislation will now go through the chamber.